Well, I think I finally reached the point where I can review Behemoth.
However it's pronounced.
And I think if you played it since launch, you kind of fit within two categories. Category 1 being the I haven't really had many problems and it's worked pretty well for me.
Whoa.
Go to the top of the class, my son, you got lucky. Or category 2, which I think is more my category, where I've had so many different problems. And I'll come to those a little bit later. But for now, if you don't feel like subscribing to my channel, that is fine. Wait until a bit later on in the video when you've got a feel for it. And if you like the cut of my jib, go ahead and subscribe. So first, let's gloss over the story a little bit. You play as Wren, who's a warrior, and it's up to you to take down these behemoths that are terrorizing your village and generally just doing bad things, like stepping on people. So the first thing you notice about Behemoth is how buttery smooth the movement is. When you actually first load it up and start moving your arms, how one-to-one those movements are. I was actually quite impressed. And whilst obviously the game is advertised as Behemoth,
My mum's gonna kill me for slaughtering the name again.
But taking them Behemoths down isn't the only thing you do in Behemoth. Each section is split up into finding a way to take them down and also battling your way to them.
Oh, and there will be a little bit of light puzzling along the way.
These aren't actually that difficult, more like trying to get a block from one place to another in order to open a door here and there. As well as this, there will be plenty of time to hone your battling skills, as most of the actual game is battling against gangs of marauders and the like. And this involves close combat and aerial combat, i.e. archers and swordsmen, and there's even special type of almost elite sort of warriors to take on. But don't worry, you too can also use range and close combat. And trust me, there are many different weapons you can use, from bows to swords to throwing knives, to two-handed axes to one-handed axes, and there's even very large bastard swords that you can use. And each different weapon can be tailored to how you actually want to play the game. Weapons are stored on your person, 2 to the side, 2 to the back, and there's even a way to store more weapons by pressing the Y and B button, and it comes up with a secondary set. So if you want to tinker with your sets and try something new,
You certainly can.
and then there's the grapple hook that you get, which can also be upgraded. And this can be used to actually be used as a grapple hook, obviously, but also you can use it to grappling opponents that are higher up and basically pulling them down and killing them by falling damage. Although there are times when only the slightest bit of a raise would still kill them, which is weird. Although saying that, even the slightest touch from a spike can kill some enemies, and yes, you can use this to your advantage as they lunge towards you. The special weapons that you get for defeating the Behemoths
Sorry, Mum.
can all be upgraded using these special metals, and then you put it into a forge and then choose what you want, and then you can take it out, hammer it, and job is a good one. You can even upgrade your character in various ways, even though I didn't quite do much of this, and also all I did was upgraded my sword mostly. And I suppose before I get on to the problems I had, I'd better mention the Behemoths. So each Behemoth looks different and also has a different way of taking them down. And as you progress through them, and there aren't many, you'll end up using all the tactics and all the weapons that you have acquired all in one to take down the last ones. And seeing these creatures looming above you, climbing up them, swinging around them, taking them down, being lifted up in the air by them is simply breathtaking in VR. I don't think this would have worked quite as well in flat, but in VR it just blows you away. So that's a good chunk of what this game is actually about, and also some of the mechanics. This is the good, and if I went on, I could probably fill this video up just with that. And as I said at the beginning of the video, I had the bad luck to have the bad version, if you like. At times I thought this was going to be a 9 out of 10 game, but then
tragedy struck.
So I've heard of other things happening in other people's games, but this is what happened in my game. So this one happened near the beginning of the game, and also one of the kind of like mini bosses later on in the game it happened to as well, where I was fighting them and they turned invisible. The only thing I could see was their like health bar, and that was it. I couldn't go through them, but then my weapons went through them, which was weird. Another one was a character phased through the floor, and basically just like the invisible problem, I had to restart from my safe position. And talking about save position, I had one part in the game, my character was taken down and it kept on sending me past the last save that I did. So I had a long way in order to complete that section in order to save it at the next section, as that section's save didn't work. That was the biggest one that annoyed me. That really sort of like, I almost gave up playing at that point, which was a shame because I was really enjoying myself. The amount of detail that's put into this game. There are like mechanics where you cover your ears to stop screeching and the noise hurting you. There's mechanics where you cover your mouth to go through smog or this poison gas. There's an inner strength mechanic where it gives you a temporary strength boost and you can knock broken walls down or throw enemies against the walls. I'm not saying everything in this game works perfectly, and it is very janky at times, but it does work well enough to enjoy yourself within it, even with the problems that I had. Graphics and sound. Graphically, it is a complete marvel. I could not believe how good this looks. The Behemoths, look amazing, and even when you look from the ground or even on top of them, it just blows your mind how good this looks. The detail in some of the objects that you pick up, again, quite incredible. The only thing that I really didn't like is when you upgrade your weapons, nothing happens to them. They don't look different, which was a bit of a missed opportunity, I felt. Sound-wise, voiced.
From them I learned I can pass my gifts to an heir.
What are you saying?
Come to the library and I'll show you.
Which was amazing. All the different sounds, it felt like the place was alive. Wind blowing here, the screeches in the foreground before you even get to them, you can hear them there. The enemies chattering to themselves or to each other. You could tell that this was a labour of love. But just like many of its same ilk, like Skyrim, the launch didn't quite go as they had hoped. And apparently there is a Day 7 patch coming out that hopefully will fix most of these things. And if you made it this far, thank you very much, and also go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I do put out regular weekly content, and it'd be nice to have you join me. The score. Okay, so it is a technical marvel, and I have to admit, if it wasn't for all those other problems, this would be a 9 out of 10. And if they get patched and fixed, this is a 9 out of 10 game. But weirdly, even without the patch, I still really enjoyed myself. I think if I paid for this game, I would be probably defending it, saying it's not actually that bad. I love this game. I honestly do. It is like a linear version of Skyrim. Or at least to me, it felt that way. I will be using this game as a benchmark for this sort of genre from now on. And it has made me rethink some of the actual scores that I've given other games recently. I haven't quite completed the full game yet because of the problems I've had, but I will be going back to it. And I do think I'll be replaying it once they fix it all, just for the perfect run through. This is so weird because I really do think this is a 8 out of 10 in its state for me personally, a 9 out of 10 when it's all fixed. And if they do make a sequel to this game, I really would like to play that too. Thank you for your time and hope to see you again. See ya!